Britain's decision to leave the European Union sent shockwaves around the world. But now that the dust is settling, how well is Britain adapting to a rapidly evolving world? How far away is the goal of global Britain? Our video will explore the challenges and limitations of the UK's post-Brexit economic ambitions. We'll explore how Britain seeks to maintain its global profile in a world in a state of flux, where old alliances are being broken and new ones formed. On June 23, 2016, the UK awoke to the news that their country had voted to leave the EU. So why did Britain Brexit? Central to the Leave vote was the desire for the UK to regain sovereignty and control over its laws and borders, a sentiment driven by Britain's complex relationship with the EU, marked by historical ambivalence and a desire for autonomy. Concerns over unrestricted EU immigration and the impact of globalization on national identity and jobs further fueled the referendum's outcome. This was compounded by the refugee crisis that had erupted a year earlier, as the conflict in Iraq and Syria created the biggest refugee wave since World War II. Economic frustrations also played a role, with perceptions that the UK had become subservient to supernatural bodies in Brussels. In more deprived areas of the UK, such as South Wales or the northeast of England, many felt that they were being left behind in a more globalized world. Despite the significant EU funding that these areas of economic deprivation received, the money sent from Brussels was seen more as a badge of failure than constructive help. Those who voted against Brexit feared that the abrupt dislocation of Britain from the EU common market would cause severe economic disruption. Post-Brexit, the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement, or TCA, has governed trade terms. Assessing the economic impact on the UK is complicated by the overlapping effects of COVID-19 and the Ukraine crisis, but these are not unique to the UK. Distinguishing the TCA's impact from the pandemic and geopolitical tensions is crucial for a clear analysis. Predictions before Brexit anticipated negative impacts on the UK economy, from reduced EU market access, lower wages, a weaker sterling, and the potential for higher taxes or reduced public spending. So, were they correct? There has certainly been a significant reduction in UK-EU goods trade, with UK imports of goods from the EU dropping by 25%, due to the now increased cost for those importing to the UK. Likewise, firms exporting to the EU now face increased regulation, hampering their ability to do business with Europe. In the services sector, historically a UK strength, particularly financial services, there has been a roughly 6% drop in exports to the EU by 2019, with significant bank assets and some jobs moving to the EU. These early findings indicate that Brexit's economic consequences, while complex, sector-specific, and regionally varied, have been significant. The new UK-EU trade deal came into force on January 1, 2021. It prevents tariffs and quotas, but introduces new checks due to the UK's departure from EU product standards. More worryingly for the UK, the new deal doesn't exclude the possibility of future tariffs if either side diverges significantly from shared regulations on labor rights and environmental protection. The UK's international trade recovery lags behind other G7 countries, with trade contributing less to the economy. Of the 71 trade deals secured, most are merely rollovers from EU membership. In other words, replicating the UK's terms as an EU member without creating any new trade frameworks. Brexit's changes to labor movement rules have led to more worker shortages in key sectors, despite calls for some pro-Brexit leaders for more flexible immigration policies. But the UK's biggest challenge is replacing the £550 billion trade with EU partners after leaving the single market and customs union. Since Brexit, the UK has secured trade deals with around 70 countries and the EU, although most of these are the aforementioned rollover-style deals. Still, the UK has negotiated the following. A new trade agreement with Australia, signed in December 2021, was the first deal negotiated from scratch post-Brexit. A unique deal with Japan in October 2020 marked the first significant departure from existing EU arrangements. An enhanced agreement with Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein in June 2021, built on prior arrangements. A trade deal with New Zealand was signed on the 28th of February 2022. Of the deals that have been signed, some of the results have been less than impressive. The trade deal with Australia eliminated tariffs on goods for a 15-year period, but faced criticism for being unfavorable to the UK, particularly from domestic farmers concerned about competitive disadvantages. Similarly, The February 2022 deal with New Zealand removed tariffs on most products, but is predicted to boost UK GDP by a mere £800 million by the mid-2030s, representing less than 0.2% of the UK's total trade and potentially increasing New Zealand's lamb sales in the UK. Despite the deal with Japan, UK exports to Japan have actually fallen since its signing from £12.3 billion in 2021 to £11.9 billion in 2022. Other deals not yet signed include joining the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, with expected membership in the second half of 2024. Trade negotiations between the UK and Canada have stalled due to disputes over beef and cheese tariffs. Ongoing negotiations with India have yet to yield a deal. India could be the jewel in the crown of any future UK trade agreement. The talks, started in January 2023, seek to bolster the £36 billion bilateral trade relationship. The UK wants to expand its trade in Scotch whisky, cars, services, and investment opportunities through the FTA, while India aims for enhanced access to its manufactured goods and services and a favorable arrangement on professional visas. Ironically, this will increase immigration to the UK, something that Brexiters aim to reduce. Britain's first Prime Minister of Indian descent, Rishi Sunak, aims to finalize a free trade agreement with India by Easter 2024. Despite hopes, a US trade agreement has not been reached, although a more limited economic agreement, the Atlantic Declaration, was signed in June 2023. The UK's much-touted special relationship with the US has failed to achieve any notable results in terms of trade deals, as the UK is operating from a much weakened position since its EU departure. The UK has recently halted efforts to secure a trade agreement with the US before the next election, as the Biden administration shows no interest in such a deal. British hopes for a foundational trade partnership as a precursor to a full free trade agreement have been dashed by US reluctance to open its markets to more foreign goods. Challenges include market access for US agricultural products like chlorine-washed chicken and hormone-injected beef. Despite initial discussions on digital trade, labor protections, and agriculture, the prospect of a comprehensive trade deal before the upcoming elections has faded, reflecting broader geopolitical and domestic policy considerations. The lack of any breakthrough on deals with the US and India, the world's largest economy and the world's most populous country respectively, are perhaps the most significant for hopes for a global Britain. Now, if you find this video insightful, please drop a like to help us on our journey. The Northern Ireland Protocol, part of the EU-UK withdrawal agreement signed on the 24th of January 2020, was intended to protect the all-island economy, the Good Friday Agreement, and the integrity of the EU single market. The protocol has been effective since the 1st of January 2021. Both the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland want to avoid creating a hard border, which could threaten the Good Friday Peace Agreement. A hard border would make Catholics in Northern Ireland, who want unification, feel cut off from Ireland proper, and could allow old divisions to resurface and potentially reignite the violence in Northern Ireland prior to the Good Friday Agreement. Likewise, the pro-Unionists in Northern Ireland view the resulting trade border in the Irish Sea as a potential threat to the integrity of their union with the United Kingdom. Agreed upon in principle in February 2023, the Windsor Framework addresses Brexit-related challenges in Northern Ireland, offering new arrangements to maintain the integrity of the UK and EU markets and protect the Good Friday Agreement. It simplifies customs for trusted traders, adjusts VAT and excise, streamlines agri-food rules, ensures medicine supply, clarifies state aid, and eases pet travel between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. Additionally, the Stormont brake mechanism lets Northern Ireland's Assembly request a halt on applying new EU laws that significantly affect the community. Following its introduction, the Council is tasked with adopting necessary legal measures to implement these solutions, promoting smoother trade, and safeguarding the EU's market integrity. While cutting immigration was a key factor influencing Brexit, immigration levels have increased yearly since the referendum. In the last 2 years, the UK has experienced a significant rise in net migration, with the Office for National Statistics reporting an increase to 745,000 in 2022 from 184,000 in 2019, before the pandemic. Although these figures from the ONS are considered provisional, the substantial growth in net migration is a consistent trend unlikely to alter with future data revisions. Recent revisions by Britain's Office for National Statistics have positively altered the perception of the UK's economic performance post-COVID-19. initially reported to be 1.2% smaller at the end of 2021 compared to pre-pandemic levels. Updated statistics revealed the economy was actually 0.6% larger, surpassing Germany's recovery and equaling France's. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has highlighted these findings to counter pessimism about the British economy, contrasting the UK's situation with Germany's economic challenges, including high inflation and energy costs, a manufacturing slump, and impending fiscal tightening. In Britain, this revision of the economic narrative prompts discussions on the future direction of interest rates, with the Bank of England caught between lowering interest rates and controlling inflation. After 14 consecutive rate hikes, BOE's chief economist, Hugh Pill, hints at a preference for stabilization. Further ONS data revisions could influence BOE's policy decisions if there's stronger economic growth. The UK's post-Brexit and COVID-19 economic scenario is marked by a slow recovery, adaptation challenges, and ongoing issues with and failure to secure any particularly notable trade deals. While some sectors have seen benefits, the overall impact suggests that the UK is falling behind its peers, with trade and investment recovery slower than expected. So let's strike our own trade deal. We continue delivering top-notch content, and you like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Your engagement is the currency that drives us. Thank you.